First of all, hello, my name is Jeremy Colvin, aka Lucidius Rage, and we're going to be going over today the utility that I created called readyRANDOM. In the readyRANDOM tool, it gives you the ability to do a nice job of randomly selecting various winners from any Vapors TV network or show. So this is a quick overview, sort of the Reader's Digest version of how to use this tool, what the features are. For more detailed videos, feel free to watch the full-length videos or the individual segments if you want to get a more detailed, in-depth utilization instructions for each section. This is going to be a very high-level, hopefully quick Reader's Digest version. To start the readyRANDOM tool, you just double-click on the executable. Everything in the program is in the executable, so you do not need to install anything. It's all self-contained within the executable, so no need to install it. You simply run it. Once you open up the executable, you're going to get this screen here. This is the network selection screen. Only authorized networks will be in this list. So what does it take to be an authorized network? We'll go over that briefly in a minute, but essentially there's two requirements. One, that you don't hide the advertisements, because after all, that is how I pay for my time in developing this tool. And secondly, that you display it hopefully at a full screen like it is here, or somewhere near the full screen. You're going to want to do that anyway so that your audience can see the text and the winners, things like that are in the program, which you'll see a little bit later. So what you want to do first of all is select the network that you want to monitor. In this case, we are going to be monitoring the VU Live network. So we click on VU Live and click on Open readyRANDOM. The first screen that you're going to get is a prize pool screen. This is where you would input the prizes that you're going to have for that evening. So for example, if I was giving away RBA supplies, oops, and Ready XWIC, I would put that there. If I was going to be giving away Infamous Juice, say for example an Infamous 30 mil and a Higgy Cigs 30 mil. Okay, so these are an example of some prizes. Just to throw some other quick prizes in there, you know, let's say we were giving away some juice, some wick, some and a mod. Okay, so those are the list of prizes. Then you just simply click on Import Your List. What that's going to do is in this drop-down list here, you're going to see all of the prizes listed that we just imported. You're also going to see all those prizes listed if you go over to the Prize Pool tab up on the top. The prizes are listed down here in this box in the bottom. Notice that any of these prizes that you click on down here, for example, let's click on Higgy Cigs 30 mil. If we go to any of these other tabs, Higgy Cigs 30 mil is automatically going to be in that drop down. If you look at one of these prizes in the drop down and you select it, for example, Juice, and you go back to the Prize Pool tab, Juice is automatically going to be highlighted in your prize pool as well. So they communicate back and forth to each other. So there's three types of randoms in this random tool. The first of the three types is the active chatter random. What this does is it keeps track of all of the chatters in the channel. So for example, if anybody was to chat right now, so I'll go in here and say hello. Anybody who chats in the channel is going to automatically show up in this list of chatters. In the program, it keeps track of not only the people that are chatting in the program, it keeps track of how many times they've said something and how long ago they have said it. So one of the advantages of the active chatter is that we can limit the inclusion of who we want to include in our drawing based on the number of minutes ago that they had typed. So in other words, if we had put in, for example, a 2 into the minutes box here, it would only include in our drawing people that have typed something in chat within the last 2 minutes. If somebody typed something in the chat 5 minutes ago but hasn't typed within 2 minutes, they would not be included in this drawing. So you simply put in the number of winners, the number of minutes if you want to restrict that, or if you don't want to restrict the number of minutes and just want to include everybody, you're just going to leave that field blank. In the other buttons that we have here, pause is going to stop listening to the channel. Start is going to, again, start listening to the channel. Reset does just what it sounds like. It would reset the whole board. One of the things that you want to keep in mind is this list, because it's constantly updating with active chatters, you could have some difficulty, especially in a large room, if you wanted to scroll down to the bottom of the list or see something that was on the list somewhere in the middle. You can see it's automatically sort of resetting itself down because every time somebody chats, it repopulates this list. So to do that, what you're going to want to do is hit pause first. By hitting pause first, you're making the program stop listening, which means that this list will not update automatically, which will give you a chance to scroll up and down the list if you want to without it sort of recycling or resetting itself. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on Start Listening. From here, it's very, very simple. Go over the other buttons. You have Remove from this drawing. Remove from this drawing only is going to be in situations where somebody, for example, piffs. If they want to piff a product, you want to click on, let's say they had won. So let's go ahead and choose 3 winners, for example. We'll choose 3 winners and we'll say Select Winners. So there's Lascivious Rage, George, and No Saints J. So let's say that No Saints J said that he wasn't interested in this particular prize. He wanted a piff. You would highlight his name and click on Remove from this drawing only. You do not want to click on Move back to the viewer pool, because what that will do is it makes it possible for J to be drawn again. If he's already piffed this prize, he clearly doesn't want to be drawn again, so we would choose Remove from this drawing only. That's going to prevent him from being drawn again for this particular drawing, not for all of the drawings, just for this drawing. So if Jay wanted to piff, we click on Remove from this drawing only, and now he cannot be picked again on this drawing. The program won't allow his name to be picked again. So how does it do that? How does it know who can and can't be picked? Well, when we just clicked on Remove from this drawing only, Jay was added over here to the Jail tab. In the Jail tab, there's 2 sections. There's a section for inmates and a section for visitors. Visitors are people that will not and cannot be drawn for the current drawing that you are on. So as long as if there's a list of names in the Visitors tab here, those people will not and cannot be drawn for the current drawing. Inmates are the users that can't be drawn for the rest of the show. Okay, so the inmates would be, for example, if somebody has a policy in their show where you can win 1 time per show per person, you would put the people into the inmate section, and we're going to go over that in just a second of how to do that. But the inmate section would prevent them from being drawn ever again during the remainder of the show that you're doing, or as long as readyRANDOM is running for this particular session. But for now, Jay is just a visitor because he said that he wanted to piff. He didn't want the product, so we didn't want to have him accidentally drawn again. We did the Remove from this drawing only, which moved him into the jail as a visitor. Now let's say we made a mistake. He said, wait, I didn't mean to not be drawn again or whatever, and we wanted to remove him. It's no big deal. We can always undo things. So if we wanted to remove him as a visitor, we just simply click on Remove, and that puts him back into the eligible pool where he could be drawn again. Now, we had originally wanted to have 3 winners here, but we only have 2 listed. So how do we get the 3rd winner back in there? It's going to be very easy. All you got to do again is select winners. You notice that it doesn't select an additional 3 winners. It only selects the number that we told it originally that we wanted. So it will fill the gap, so to speak. And that way you don't have to try to figure out how many winners you have or how many you've drawn or how many, any of that garbage. It will only pick the number of winners that we wanted it to pick in the first place. Move back to viewer pool. You would use that if somebody didn't respond in time. So for example, you might draw for your 3 winners and then put over here on the timer that you wanted to give them, say, 10 seconds to respond and start the timer with the built-in timer. And then once that 10 seconds is up, if some of those people haven't responded, you might move them back to the viewer pool because you don't want to make them ineligible for the drawing if they happen to get drawn again. they just weren't around right then when they got drawn. So maybe they were in the bathroom, maybe they were getting a drink or whatever. In that case, if one of these people, for example, if Catiana didn't respond in time because, you know, she's kind of slow sometimes, Cat, you would move her back into the viewer pool, which makes her still eligible to be drawn. Now you notice that when we moved her back into the viewer pool, if we go look at the jail tab, she is not a visitor in jail because she is still eligible to be redrawn in this particular drawing, which we could again fill the list back in by clicking select winners. In this case, it refilled that third spot with fill the man 12. So what do we do from here? Let's say that all of these people had decided that they wanted to keep this particular prize. How do we confirm the prize with them? Well, naturally you would click on confirm winners. What clicking on confirm winners will do is take you over to the prize pool tab. In the prize pool tab, you have the list of winners on the top and the list of prizes on the bottom. Okay, from here you have a couple of options. First, for those of you hosts out there that want to put in information that you can verify that particular winner at a later time when they send your email in or whatever, you can put in that verification information right in here in the verify box. So this might be the person's zip code, it might be their street number, it might be the last 2 digits of their zip code. Whatever information you want to put in here to verify the person would be what you would put. So for example, we might ask Phil the man, hey Phil, what's the last 2 digits of your zip code? When Phil would tell us what the last 2 digits of his zip code was, which we'll just put in 69 for now, because I hear he's got a fun house over there where he lives. Oh, he says 03. I think I like 69 better, but okay, we'll move it to 03. So when Phil gives us his information to verify his account, we're going to go ahead and put in 03 in the verification. The next thing that you want to choose is whether or not to remove him from future drawings. So if you are a host that only wants to have 1 win per person per show, you would click yes to remove from future drawings. If you don't care if they win multiple times, if it's okay with you if they win multiple times, or if this is a prize that doesn't count towards your 1 win per show, then you might click no here. Okay, so in this case, we're going to go ahead and click yes to kind of show you how it works. And let's say that Phil the man won, we'll say he won Higgy Sig's 30 ml of juice. So with Phil the man highlighted, his verification information in there, whether or not to remove him from future drawings or not selected as yes or no, and the prize selected, then we just click on confirm win. Now keep in mind, you do not have to select something for the verification code, so don't feel like you have to put in a verification information. This is just purely optional. You do have to select a winner and you do have to select a prize, of course, and it will automatically either select yes or no unless you tell it to whether or not to remove from future drawings. So from there you can go ahead and click on confirm win. You notice that Phil the man was removed from the list automatically, as was the prize. So where did they go? Well, they went over here to the winners tab because Phil the man is a winner, or so I'm told. Phil the man, in this case, his verification information was 03. He won the prize for Higgy Sig's 30 ml juice. And here in the exclude, that means that we chose that we did want to exclude him from future drawings. If we didn't want to exclude him from future drawings, if we made a mistake and we actually wanted that to be no, it's an easy fix. You just double click on the yes and change it to a no. Okay, so we can do that either yes or no. We can change it by simply double clicking. If we go back to the prize pool tab, I'm going to show you the other way that we can do a prize. It's kind of a fun way. It's called the Prize Roulette. This here that I just showed you the example of was the manually select prize. If we wanted to do a Prize Roulette, we could click on Viewer Prize Roulette, and that's going to open up this other dialog box. From there, we would click on one of the 2 names. For example, we could click on George. And make sure that George is still in the room. He is. So with George's name highlighted, we can click on Start Listening. When we start listening, you notice that the prizes are automatically bouncing around the prizes until George types stop. If somebody else types stop in the room, for example, if I type stop in the room, it won't stop the prize pool. It will only stop the prize pool if George himself types stop in the room. Now you notice he just typed stop. The program automatically stopped, in this case on Wick. So it's kind of a fun way to do a prize. You let the person kind of choose what they're going to win based on their own luck that they've drawn for themselves. From there, you do the same thing. You're going to put in the verification information. So for example, we might ask George what the last 2 digits of his zip code are, and we would put that information into this verify box. So I'm not sure if George wants to give us the information or not, but let's say that it was, I don't know, 22. Okay, so it's 80. Okay, and then we want to either remove from future drawings, yes or no. In this case, we'll go ahead and click no. And then with George's name highlighted, the prize that he won when he clicked in stop highlighted, we just simply click on confirm win. Again, the prize was removed. George's name was removed, and if we go to the winners tab, sure enough, there's George with his verification information, the prize that he won, and whether or not to exclude him. Okay, so that was the active chatter tab, the prize pool tab, how that works, the winners tab. The other one we can do is a keyword drawing. Keyword drawing is very similar to the active chatter tab. What we can do here is, let's go ahead and clear the board. To clear the board, you just click on next drawing, and then you can put in here a keyword. So for example, let's say that we are going to give away Ready XWick, and we wanted to listen for the audience to type in RXW. If we put RXW in the keyword field and then we click on start, we can then wait for people in the audience to type in RXW into chat. When they type in RXW, it will automatically add them to the viewer list that will be included for this particular drawing. Now they don't just have to type in RXW. They could type in I love RXW. Also, a thing to note is that the case sensitivity doesn't matter. It can be lowercase, it can be uppercase, it doesn't matter, as long as they are putting in the keyword that you asked them to put in. Okay, so from there, everything else is basically the same, so I won't go over it again. We simply just, select the number of winners that we want, say for example 2, and select winners. It's going to automatically pull 2 winners. Now there's another feature that I just recently added to the readyRANDOM. It's kind of a cool feature, a neat way of doing this. One of the things that we can do now is we can hide the keyword from being displayed. We can either hide it or we can show it. So why would that be kind of an interesting thing to do? Well, for example, what we can do here is hide the readyRANDOM tool from being, oops, that's the wrong button, hide the readyRANDOM tool from being displayed in the broadcast, and then we can go ahead and go in here and select next drawing, and then put in our keyword that we want it to listen for, and in this case the keyword might be the answer to a quiz. So for example, I've put in the keyword that I'm looking for. I'm going to hide my keyword, and then I'm going to redisplay the readyRANDOM to my audience. And in this case, what I'm going to ask them is my quiz question. What is the meaning of life? The first person who answers the meaning of life might win a prize, or the first couple of people might win a prize. So what it's doing here is it's listening for the answer that I've put in to my system for the what is the meaning of life. As you can see, Katiana, Phil the Man, and George have all gotten the answer correct by saying that the meaning of life is, in fact, 42. So the nice thing about it doing this as a quiz is that it will keep the contestants in order that they answered correctly. So we can see that Katiana was the first to answer, Phil the Man was the second, and George was the third to properly answer the question of what is the meaning of life. So it's kind of a fun way of doing a pop quiz in your room without having to hunt through and search through the list of chatter to find the right answer. Okay, so that covers the keyword drawing. Let's move on to the random number drawing. This one is super simple. It's basically pick a number between X and Y. So in this case we might say pick a number between 1 and 1,000. Once we click on start, we would tell our audience, oops, I did 100, not 1,000. There we go. We would tell our audience to please pick a number between 1 and 1,000. Now what it's going to listen for is for the audience to put in their random numbers that they want to pick. So a couple of key things to know about the random number generator, or not the generator, but the random number selector, is that if the person chooses a number outside of the range that you've chosen, it will not count their number. It will ignore it. The only way that it will count their number is if they choose a number within the range. The other thing to keep in mind is that once it has selected a number for that person, it will only allow that first number that they type in. So you can't type in multiple numbers and have it change, and you won't get multiple entries for every time you type in a number. It will only count the first number that you type. And then what it's going to do when we draw for the number is that it draws for the closest to the random number that ends up being selected without going over. So it's sort of the Price is Right, scheme. So again, we're going to do a random drawing now. We've got 12 people in this particular drawing. We can go ahead and hit stop. So we're going to stop listening, and then we're going to select our winners. Now this is the kind of cool thing about the random number generator, or the random tab, is that you're really not restricted to only picking one. You know, we could pick 3 winners, for example, and when we draw the random lucky number, it's going to pick the 3 that were closest to that lucky number. So if we put in 3 for the winners and clicked select winners, then the random number was 487. So the closest 3 people, because we chose to have 3 winners, was Valkyrie, George, and JV at 429, 405, and 232. Now, this didn't happen in this particular case, but if the last spot in the number of winners was a tie with somebody else, even though we told it to choose number of winners, like for example in this case, let's say that there were 2 people that put in the number 232. In this case, it wouldn't just select 3 winners, it would actually select 4, because there would be 2 people tied for that third place, at 232. So it would show us both of the people that came in on the tie. Okay, so that pretty much covers the 3 types of randoms very briefly and quickly. It covered the prize pool and how that functions. That covered also the winners tab and how that functions. We did not cover, though, the other tab, and there's a couple of quick things I want to cover on the jail. On the other tab, it's there primarily to be able to change your color scheme. So if you wanted to have a blue theme, for example, we could click on this blue button here and it will change everything in our tabs to sort of a blue theme. If we wanted purple, same thing, red, light blue, pink, you know, purple and teal, whatever color you want to choose, those would be selectable via here on the other tab, so you can make the program match your particular broadcast. If none of these colors work for you, which could entirely be the case, you can click on right here, click to use custom colors, and it's going to give you the opportunity to change anything that you want. So for example, if we liked this teal buttons but we didn't want a purple background, we could click on, again, click here to use custom colors, and we could change whatever we wanted to. So if we wanted to do the main background as an example, and we wanted to color it as, say, I don't know, orange. Oops, I moved this into view. We've wanted to change this color to orange. We just click on orange, click on OK, and then click on apply. That's going to automatically change that background to the color that we had chosen. If we like the color scheme that we've made, so if we've gone through here and we've made a custom color scheme, all we have to do is save that color scheme and we can call it whatever we want to. So for example, let's say we wanted to call this orange blue or orange teal. We simply say save, and you're going to notice that saved the file wherever we told it to, in this case, in this location, under the file name that we gave it, and it gives it an extension of CLR for color. Now let's say that we had come into the program, and by default it starts off with this red color, but we wanted to use the custom color that we had chosen. Very easy to do. We just go to click here to use more custom colors. We're going to load this time, and we're going to select the item that we had saved. That's going to automatically load those custom colors in the configuration that we had saved them to. Okay. The last thing I want to go over, or one of the last things anyway, is the jail tab. Again, here on the jail tab, very straightforward. We have two sections. One is for inmates, one is for visitors. Again, to recap, inmates are a list of people that will be excluded from the rest of the drawing. So for example, if we go over here to the winners tab, if we made Phil the Man and George both yes to exclude, one would presume that they would show up in the jail under the inmates section. That means that they're not going to be allowed to be picked as winners for the rest of that particular show. Remember that the visitors tab is only for the viewers that wouldn't be picked for the next drawing, or for the current drawing that you're in, rather. There's one more little sort of secret area to the jail. And this area is going to be important for the show host that might have some problems with people that maybe they don't play fair. So for example, let's say that you have people in your show that you know have 20 or 30 multiple accounts. So those people you wouldn't necessarily want to be included in your drawing, but you also might not want to bring attention to the fact that they're not, because the best way to prevent them from being drawn is to not let them know that they're not being included. So how would you do that, and why would that be important? Well, for one thing, it would be important because we, ultimately want to have the most fair drawings that we can for the viewers, so that everybody has a fair chance. And quite frankly, if somebody has 30 or 40 fake accounts that they have signed in to a show at any given point in time, that's not necessarily something that's fair. What I will advise you to do is don't abuse this feature. Don't put people in here because you don't like them. Don't put people in this list because they have pink hair, or whatever the case is. Only use this feature for good reasons, or I may remove this feature. If I find out that this feature is being abused in a future release, we may remove this feature. So for now, we have it in place because we wanted to to give you the ability to exclude people from the drawings if there is a damn good reason to have them excluded, but you don't want them to show up in one of these jail lists because you don't want to tip them off that they're not being included in the drawing. Again, this would be for extreme cases of prize abuse, so to speak. So where do we do this? We click on this little key here on the right hand side, and that's going to bring up excuse me, that's going to bring up a list to import, and you can just put in here whoever the list is of people that you want to make sure are not included as possible winners in the drawing. Again, here case does not matter, it's not case sensitive. So for example, if you wanted to exclude somebody named Rage from any drawings but you didn't want them to show up, you would just put them in this list, and then you'd click here to import your list. You're going to notice that they don't show up in the jail list. This is the best way to battle some of these unfair situations where people are trying to abuse the system. So it works pretty well. The last thing I want to go over real quickly before I shut this video down is on the Winners tab, you're going to see a couple of things. On the Winners tab, you're going to see a couple of things in here that give you the ability to save the winner's information. You can either save it to Excel, so if we click on Excel, it will automatically populate it into a spreadsheet for us, as you can see here, and it'll separate it by tabs for the winner, the info, the prize that they won, and whether or not they are excluded. You can also save, let me hit note of that, you can also save it to a text file if you prefer by clicking on text file, and that will give you the ability to save it into a text file to wherever you want to place it. So for example, we'll save it called 6/2/2015, which is the date of this particular show, and we click save. You're going to find that if we look in there again, that file is in there. Now what does it look like? If we open it up, if we open that file up, you're going to see that the information for the prizes are in there. Phil the man, what he won, George, and what he won. The other thing that you can do if you don't want to save it to a text file is you can save it to your clipboard, and you just click on that, and then from there you can paste it to wherever you want to paste it. So if you wanted to paste it into your notepad, you can just right click and paste, and it will add the winner information in there as well. And finally, if you want to email it, so for example, jeremy@rbasupplies.com, you click on email, it's going to bring up a message saying that your email has been sent. Now when they emails the prize information to your email, it's going to email it in a fashion that is easily discernible and looks like this. Let me pull this up. Okay, so here's an example of what the email would look like. It tells you that the prize has been generated, or this email list has been generated, blah, 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 and here's your list of prizes that was won on that show. So that pretty much concludes the sort of the Reader's Digest version of readyRANDOM. I appreciate you spending the time to watch the video. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, my name is Jeremy Colvin. I am the owner, the creator, the developer, and the supporter of this random tool. You can find me at jeremy@rbasupplies.com. You can also find me on the VU Live channel. I'm one of the co-owners over there on Vapors TV. Thanks for watching the video. Take care. Peace out.